Hi, I'm Susan, and I'm here to just give a short little video and introduce myself, and hopefully this will be the first of several. And I'm just going to take a quick look. So one of the things, I went up to the screen, I came back. One of the things I am not going to do, I am going to, if you want to make comments, that's great, I will answer them afterwards, but I'm not going to do any interaction live because that's beyond my capability. So I am an artist, and I kind of how I describe my work is to say that I am inspired by the spirit of nature and by the beauty and power of words. So that means that I do handmade sculptural books with natural materials, and I do calligraphy. And my main focus in the calligraphy is the words themselves. So this is kind of my coming out in a way after the pandemic. It lasted a little bit longer for me because I had a couple of major spine surgeries in the last year and a half. And that's really kind of delayed my, kept me sort of withdrawn a bit for a bit longer. So one of the things that I think everybody, like many, many people, I have used some of this time to evaluate what's really important to me, what I really want to do. And one of the things that I want to do, I realize that I can be happy in my work, I can be relaxed, I can be all of these things. And part of it is just to let myself. And I am somebody who has always kind of done it the hard way. You know, if I look at something and I think, how can I work harder, make this more complicated? That's going to make it better. And now I want to do the opposite. I want to step back and do it easy. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing a video. In the past, was a pretty active blogger. In the past, I would have written this, turned this into writings. One, it's, I don't want to, in an effort to take more care of my body, I don't want to spend as much time on the computer at the desk. And so this is a way for me to kind of compose my thoughts, share them, and keep it all pretty friendly for my body and my mind. So what I want to do is just show you a couple of things that I have been working on, and they're both calligraphic pieces. And the first one is this. This is something I did for my Tai Chi class over the holidays, and it's a quote from Lao Tzu, who was the founder of Taoism and the author of the Tao Te Ching. And it's, by letting it go, it all gets done. And I find that that's a kind of a hard thing to live. But I do find with a lot of the words I collect and use in calligraphy, even if I can't actively be this way, just knowing that that's a possibility of how I can think about things makes a really big difference. So when I did this, I knew I wanted to have a brushstroke, something very free, very loose. So I did that first on a piece of very textured paper. But I knew that I also didn't want the letters, the words, to have that kind of texture. So I did those. So this is something I created in Photoshop. So I scanned in the brushstroke, and then I scanned in the lettering and put them together in Photoshop. And one of the handy things was that I also wrote, I managed to spell Lao Tzu's name wrong, and I was able to do an easy correction on that. So I don't use it all the time, but if the work is going to be reproduced, I will go ahead and just make adjustments in Photoshop. And then the second piece that I have done is this quote here. Choose the important over the urgent. And this was spoken by Min Jin Lee. She is the author of Free Food for Millionaires, which I did read, which is absolutely wonderful, and Pachinko, which won the National Book Award, which I will read at some point. And I heard her in an interview with Debbie Millman, who has a podcast called Design Matters. And in this, Debbie asked Min who was involved in teaching, what do you say to your students? What words of advice do you give them? And this is what she said: choose the important over the urgent. And what she was saying is that we live very much in an attention economy. So that is kind of what everybody is after. People are we're constantly bombarded with messages from, you know, some good, some bad, some commercial, but causes we believe in, you know, political figures that we believe in, all this, we are constantly being bombarded. And kind of as a creator, we are in competition with all of these messages that are coming out. And so everybody, I think, who wants you to pay attention is trying to convince you that everything is urgent. And maybe it is, but we can't function that way. We have to say, wait a minute, like what is really the most important? And kind of push back against this sense, this world that we're living in where everything is put forward as urgent. So what I use for the lettering on this, I'm kind of, again, in my thing of just keeping things easier, looser, I use this marker. It's a Zig calligraphy marker, and I've been using the broad edge. There's two tips on it, one narrower, one broader, and I use the broader one. The first time I used this was for a book I wrote and put together with quotes to celebrate the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage. And it was called Suffragists Speak, and this is just an example of one of the pages. Now, I will just mention now that I think I have my Facebook video set up that you are seeing these correctly. If you're not, I apologize, and I will try to figure it out for next time. So I'm just going to give you another look at this. Choose the important over the urgent. Now, both of these are available on my website. So just if you're not familiar with my work, you want to see the kind of work I do, SusanGaylor.com. And there is a, one of the pages you can go to is called, I think, Free Posters. And on that, there are the posters. I have turned all of the calligraphy from the Suffragist Speak book into free posters, which you are welcome to download and hang up, distribute, whatever, just not for commercial use. And then there's another section called Words from Susan. And so these are PDFs that you can download and print. So it was really great to talk to you, and I hope to see you again sometime soon. Thanks a lot.